Good afternoon, hope we're all well. Just going to start off by going through a few of the checks as normal, so just wave my hand in front of them. That's just to check that everything is working okay with the vision. I'm hoping you can hear me. I think what's happened is the volume's been turned down. Yeah, it has. Sorry about that. So yeah, all is good. I will turn my volume back off. I'm ready to go. Okay, welcome to the Lovespoon Workshop. Now in this demonstration, what we're doing is just sharing with you, having a little bit of fun with the wood carving. Something I've always enjoyed over the years is carving some cartoons. So the first one we got in the vise is Droopy. Now one of the first things is worth noting when it comes to doing carvings like this, please be aware in terms of copyright, things like that. The reason I say be aware of copyright is because it's, you don't own the rights to it. So this is just a little bit of fun. This isn't something that I would do for sale. This is just a little bit of fun that you can do. But if you're learning wood carving or interested in learning wood carving, this can be a really fun and nice way to get going. So the wood that I am using for doing this carving from is a piece of juniper. I've marked out a few and we'll see how far I get, because the one thing with this is I haven't carved any of these for a little while, and I forget how long it actually takes me to carve them. I don't think it takes too long, but I'll be honest with you, I can't remember. The reason I'm doing this is because we've done a few different Lovespoon demonstrations, and that's really our day job. That's what we do as a day job. But I just wanted to show everyone how you can do different things when it comes to wood carving, and you can have a little bit of fun with what you're doing. Now I know there may be a little bit of background noise today. Hopefully that will finish sooner rather than later. We're having a little bit of work done here, so hopefully that's not too much of a distraction. But unfortunately there's nothing I can do about that one. So we're basically, to explain what we're doing, we're starting to mark everything out. We're using a piece of juniper. You'll notice what I've done is I've actually taken the piece of wood that I've cut our Droopy character out of. I've used that piece of wood to support the carving in the vise. So it means if I didn't do that, it would be squeezing on that side there and squeezing there. And this pointed piece here, I was just a little bit dubious of that, so I thought it was best if I just kept the surround and used that in the vise. Simple little technique again that might be useful to you. You know, if you struggle in terms of gripping your projects, it's just one to consider, is having keeping the surround of where you've cut your carving out and using that then to be able to hold it more easily in the vise. So we go through just doing all of the stop cuts. That's one of the first things that I do, is to sort of, to do those stop cuts. And then we're trying to decide which parts of the carving that we're going to bring out and which part of the carvings then we're sort of going to carve in. So it's just a little bit of the process then, just to explain, you know, what we do and how we do it. As always, I've marked out the project with a vertical grain. So that grain, as you can see, the lines, they're running from top to bottom. Any questions as well as I'm going along, feel free to ask. Always great to hear from you all. If there's, if you're new here, let us know who you are. And if you're a regular, as it would be, let us know. And it's always great to hear who's joined us. So you can just see, we're just going through those different stop cuts. And I enjoy doing this type of carving because it really is just a little bit of fun. So it's It's a nice way, if you are learning wood carving, it's a nice way to learn wood carving. You know, you can really just sort of let yourself go with it and enjoy the process. So we need a different curve because of the expression we've got on his face. We've got just a little, this one here is a micro. It's actually a micro gouge made many, many moons ago by Speedy. So it's one that you won't come across very often, but it does a really useful job. In particular, I use that one a lot for initialing and putting numbers and putting initials, that sort of thing, on different carvings that we do. So as you can see, we're just going to continue getting all of these stop cuts that we're then going to use to sort of give depth to the carving. One of the nice things about doing a carving like this one is, for myself, I don't know what the sort of results of things is going to be today, because I've never carved this before. And that's always a bit of fun, because you're always wondering, how is it going to turn out? And you're also thinking, is it going to be successful? Hello, Aubrey. Great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, as always. A sunny day in Toronto. In West Wales, we've had a few sunny days. Last week we had some sunshine. Today I would describe it as a little bit cloudy, sort of intermittent sun. It's no rain, so not a typical Welsh day. And yeah, it's not too bad out there, a bit breezy. But all in all, not too bad at all. So as I'm going along now, I'm starting to work out in my head which bits are going to be pushed back. So naturally, the arm would be in front of the body. So that's one of the first things then that I've worked out, is that arm is going to be prominent. We're going to bring the ear then, possibly, that would be above this section of the head here. So we're going to work on those aspects of the carving. And then the tail, of course, that will be slightly pushed back. And this is what you're just working out. Which bits of the carving am I going to push back? Which bits am I going to bring out? One thing with having the surround, whilst it's protecting what I'm carving, later on in the carving I might end up taking the surround away. As you can see, I'm carving it down already. The reason for it is it's going to get in my way as I'm doing the carving, but I thought it best to keep it in place to protect the wood while I'm carving it. So you can just see we're just doing the curve around the front as well. And yeah, a few different things then. With carving the juniper, we mentioned it a few times, you get that lovely perfume on it. Really is quite strong. It's a lovely smell though, lovely fragrance that you get on it. Different parts as well, of course. The juniper, it's known more as a cedar, because it is, of course, a member of the cedar family. Just as I was about to go live, I've realised as well, there's a little piece here, that little bit there that I'm pointing at, I've actually missed that out. That should have been cut out. That should have been scroll sawed, that little bit. So that's something that I'll have to sort out after, is, as I mark that little piece there that I've marked all around, just bring it a little bit further into shot. Yeah, that little piece there, that's going to be cut out altogether. So that piece that I'm cutting down there, that'll be cut out of the carving altogether. It's one of those ones where I was preparing this earlier for the live stream, because there was actually a slight change of plan, and I ended up doing this last minute. So thanks to the change of plan, I managed to miss that one cut as I was preparing for the live stream. So yeah, what we're sort of thinking of as well then, when it comes to now where we're working on the legs, this one here is going to be the back leg, sorry. So that's going to go behind the body, and the other leg here, that's going to be the front leg. So just working out which bits need to come out in the carving and which bits do we need to push back. When it comes to the sort of where the head connects to the shoulders, what I tend to do is to carve it down in both directions. So I'll carve it this way, but I will also carve it back the other way, because you don't tend to have the neck and the body, they sort of need to join into one another. So again, we're just going to bring some depth on the body itself. And I would suggest that for any of you, whatever stage of wood carving you're at, whatever sort of background you've got in wood carving, doing some cartoon carving like this, it's just a bit of fun. So if you've got a little bit of spare time and you're thinking, what interesting projects could I do? Have a go at carving some carvings. What I like about them, see, is that the carvings themselves, they have really, there's nice sort of expression, and there's a lot of, how can we explain? They're just nice characters, because they're that's what they are, is real sort of characters. I think it's a really fun thing to do. And it's nice to sort of think, because the artists who designed and developed these characters, you get to sort of experience a little bit of all of the expressions, and you then get to see what they look like in wood. I guess as well, it probably suits my carving style, because a lot of what we do is to create like that three-dimensional image in 2 dimensions, and that's a lot what they're all about. So you can see we're just giving the carving a little bit of depth, just to bring the body behind the arm. And that's the basic process of wood carving. What you're constantly doing, you're taking away the waste wood that you don't want until you get that carving that you're looking for. One thing as well, as I'm going along, you start off with a carving and you start off with your idea, and sometimes as it's going along you think, right, I'm going to have to adapt and change slightly the way that I'm doing it. But I just find that you get into a natural flow and a natural rhythm of things, and you just go for it. Again though, if you make any mistakes, if you make any little errors as you're going along, as you're developing your carving, you can always carve it deeper into the woods. You can always adapt it. You can always change what you're doing. But it's all, I always think with these types of carvings, it's those little bits of detail that gives it its real character. Some of the ones that I've done over the years, you'll have seen in the, or you might have seen in the thumbnail for this, we've done Roadrunner. That was one of the most challenging ones, because with the Roadrunner, you've got all of those teeny tiny little bits of detail, but the most difficult part of doing the Roadrunner is the legs. They're so thin, and because the neck is thin as well, there's no way that you can do a carving like that without at some point going across the grain. So the one that you'll see in the thumbnail for this video is actually carved in ash, and the difficulty with that is the 2 legs, they're actually cross grain. So one of the more, how can I explain, challenging processes. So what I'm deciding here now is with the character of Droopy, we want that nose to be prominent, so that nose is going to be in front, and the 2 sort of flaps almost of the lips either side there, they're going to be more prominent as well. And so I'm just carving this piece back just a little bit, and we'll see what happens. It might work out, might not. If it doesn't work out, we'll just adapt it and deal with whatever issue we've got. We're going to do a little bit on these eyes as well. With all carvings, I always think that the eyes are an important thing to get right with all carvings. If you can get the eyes right, because generally speaking, when you look at a photo, when you look at a carving, when you look at a painting, picture, whatever it is, the eyes, if the eyes don't look quite right, then you're in trouble. And I'll say that now, and I'll probably end up thinking, no, the eyes don't look right. With Droopy, we've got to have those droopy eyes. So I think it is an important part of this particular carving. And again, I am going to adapt my carving just a little bit as I'm going along. What I'm conscious of, I want a little bit of, it's this eye here. We've got no sort of separation between the eye and this line here. So at some stage we're going to have to turn this around and carve into there. And ideally I would have preferred it if we'd have had a little bit of separation, but as you can see, that's not going to happen. Now to finish off the eyes, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some full stops for the pupils. But where are we going to position them? I think we position it there. And we position it there. Yeah, when it comes to eyes, we don't want them sort of, we don't want to end up with cross eyes or anything like that, because just makes the carving look a bit odd. Right, so we're turning that round in the vise now, and we're going to carve back in the opposite direction. One thing I'm thinking of as well, didn't think of it earlier, what would have also made it easier is not just having the surround. I should have sanded the surround. If I'd have put it on the belt sander, just to make just a little pointer for anyone who's thinking of using that technique. If I just sanded the background down a little bit further, that would have made life easier, because as I'm trying to give it depth and detail, having it a little bit proud from the background makes life just a little bit easier. So we're just going to carve this center portion now. It's just giving it that depth as we're going along. And so far, I'm pretty happy with how it looks like it's coming along. What you'll find as well with it, it'll carve better in the one direction than the other. But as much as you can, carving with the grain. That's one of the most important things to remember. So we're just giving a little bit of shape. I will also, when we're getting towards the end, when we think we've got our different levels that we're looking for in our carving, I'll sand it all over as well. Just see if we can get that. Yeah, that is right down. That's fine. So we're conscious here that we've got to get these eyes are going to have to go back a little bit. But what you can do, you can carve, give them a bit of depth, carve down, but if you don't completely carve it out, if you keep some of it there, you keep those guidelines to follow. So we're just keeping some of those guidelines. So that's what you do. As you get in your depth, just keep those guidelines as you've marked it, just so we have something that we can follow. So the same again. Just bring in a little bit of depth, down like so. We carve into the edge. It's a time-consuming process, which I was half anticipating. But it is a fun process because you get such a nice carving at the end of it. Hello to the carver there. Indeed, we're carving Droopy today. So, we are having a little bit of wood carving fun. I've gone and done that, and I've gone a little bit too far on that one, but that's no problem. We just put that line back in there. We're going to try and keep as much of that detail in there. Yeah, because this is something we don't do regularly, it's something that we're going to do slowly, little bit. This is where a degree of patience but you do get something fairly quick for your work. but there's a lot of little bits of detail and a lot of layers to think about. Once you do a carving, see, a few times, so you'll see us demonstrating some of the different symbols on the Lovespoon, and we will do them more quickly because we're so used to doing them, you don't even think about what you're doing. But with something like this, we're just thinking about layers. And sometimes when you do a carving for the first time like this one, you'll carve it and you'll think, right, if I do that again, I'll do this differently or that differently. But ultimately, you're going through those same processes that you're always using. I've remembered as well today, I've remembered the shellac. So when we've done our carving on Droopy, we will put a coat of shellac on, so you'll see the character of the grain and the colours in the wood. One of our upcoming videos, it probably won't be published for a little while, but one that I've been filming recently is to do with the woods that we use. And for those of you who join us regularly, you'll probably be aware that we use quite a wide variety of woods, predominantly hardwoods. But there's no sort of rules or regs that we stick to when it comes to woods. We do use seasoned woods, but we use quite a wide variety. Somebody asking me just today, what wood are we using for the project? So I was explaining that we use quite a range. I think it makes it more interesting if you're using different woods. The one, and I see it a lot, the one that everybody seems to favour is basswood. What we refer to in the UK is lime. And I find it fine for carving, nice enough, but it's, for instance, it hasn't got the same sort of character. You know, this wood has a beautiful colour, beautiful grain to it. Right, I'm going to put that pupil back in because we're just building up the depth to our carving. Just going to take a little bit into that edge there. I'm going to take a bit out of this one too. There we are. By the look of it, they're disappearing there. That's the workman just going. So that should hopefully improve the background noise for a while. Yeah, as I'm turning it round then, you've all been seeing it better than me from the angle you got. Juniper looks like it is indeed. Yeah, it is a piece of juniper that we're carving. Yeah, as I'm turning it round, I'm pretty happy with how that carving is taking shape. And what I've done, as I said, I've prepared a few different ones for everybody to see. If I don't manage to get through them all, what I'll do is I'll do another demonstration next week, showing how, yeah, if it's something, let me know in the comments section, if it's something that's of interest, seeing how the different carvings of cartoon characters can be done. If that is something that interests everyone, I can do a little series in it. You can even put in the comments section and let us know now if there's a particular character that you would like to see carved. Let us know, because it would be good fun to carve the different ones. And any carvings or any projects that you would like us to do, let us know, because even if it's something that we don't do or can't do or something like that, you're still welcome to ask us, because if we can carve it, and if it's something that might help you out seeing it being demonstrated, let us know and we'll do it. So what I've done, see, we've just given a little bit of depth. So the eyes I've dropped back. So we've given a little bit of depth to that section of the carving. I needed a little bit of depth here because I just wanted to shape into that nose just a little bit. And that's what we're doing, is to just give things more depth. Gives the character, I always think, a little bit more carving. Now you'll notice there, I've started carving and I can see, because of the nature of the grain, that's going to carve deeper. If I carry on there, it's going to take out a big splinter. So that's why I've stopped, because if I carry on carving, it's going to cause me a problem. I'm going to have to carve the whole thing, the whole face at least, further into the wood to compensate to take out that splinter. So if you have that, just stop with the splinter, turn it back around. Turn it back around in the vise and just carve that back out. It's just in that particular point, that's the direction the grain is going. So take the splinter out, as opposed to just carrying on and then you're causing yourself a problem that you're going to have to try and get out. So we were just having, yeah, it was just taking a little bit of depth. And on that note, as I've just corrected what was about to go wrong, Thomas the Woodcarver's walked in.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Prananda.
Did you know what I was planning on doing for a live stream today?
You said some
There you go.
cartoon characters, was it?
Do you recognise this one, Thomas the Woodcarver?
It's not Snoopy, is it?
Well, you're close. You're close in name, anyway. Snoopy, that was Charlie Brown, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
I think that was Charlie Brown sleeping on the... used to sleep on top of the kennel, on top of the doghouse.
So who was this one?
This is Droopy.
Oh, Droopy.
You're close to it. Prananda from Aubrey there as well. See what? Look, I remembered. This is a technique that Thomas the Woodcarver was using last week with us. He cut a piece of wood where I didn't have a lot of wood to grip, and I thought this would be useful for doing a carving like this one here. Is to just leave the surround so you can grip it more easily. See, that was my plan. Thomas Woodcarver as well, busy. It looks like you're doing metal work there.
Yeah, I've finished my favourite job for the afternoon.
There we are.
Clearing the drains. There we are. That's nice, isn't it, everybody?
Well, that's a fantastic addition to our live stream. I was saying that there was some work going on, but Thomas the Woodcarver has elaborated for us all. There we are. Right, so yeah, we're just bringing the nose then. We're just making that a little bit more prominent.
What's the timber, dude?
What do you reckon?
Cedar.
It's the juniper, isn't it?
Juniper, that catches me every time.
It's a little bit of juniper, a bit of Spanish wood from La Mancha. There we go. Yeah, and a carving like this, if you've never done a carving like this before, I would highly recommend it because it is fun and it's relatively straightforward to do. I'm thinking over the years, see as well, what I've done with these, I've given them as presents to people. I remember doing a Penelope pit stop. I did one friend of mine asked, because I used to ask people, what would you like? And I did a monkey for one. He asked me for that. A cheeky monkey. I done a cartoon version of a rugby player, because of course our national sport here in Wales. What else have we done? Popeye. Yosemite Sam. All sorts. Now I think we've got some nice depth. We've got some nice detail. Because this is what we do, is sort of, it's like a shallow relief carving. That's how we would describe our carving style. So I think we've just about got enough depth on what we're trying to do. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding work and then put a coat of shellac. And I'm going to use quite a fine sanding paper. Yeah, now today we've had an interesting day. My son Nico, he's just walked in. You say hello to everyone, Nico?
Hello.
Good boy. Yeah, today we had an interesting day. Daddy decided to drive Nico and his brother Sammy down the school. And did we realise when we got there, Nico?
It was not a school day, and then we drove back.
That's right. When we got there, we realised it's still the holidays. So Daddy drove everyone down the school, and then we had to drive back again. Jeep from Popeye would be a fun one. Oh, I'll have to have a look at that one. I will have a look, see if we could do that one. The nice thing as well then with the Juniper is it sands easily. And so you get those layers and you get a nice sort of nice finish, that sort of thing. So yeah, perfect for a job like this one here. Jeep from Popeye. I'll have to have a think. I'm not familiar with that one, so I'll have a little look on.
Just be careful, Nick, if you don't slip over.
I'll have a look on Google for an image.
Just in case, all right?
Kids had to have been filled. Yeah, they were. They as we got to the school and there was nobody there. It was what they refer to as a teacher training day. So I had to speed up when we got to the school because I realised it was teacher training. So I don't think I got spotted. Daddy not paying attention to the school calendar. Drove them down the school, only to find out.
Dad, you know I saw
There's no one
lots
there.
of people spotting you driving to the school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Daddy thought he got away with it, but obviously not. Nico was paying attention more than Daddy. There we are.
I saw
So,
loads of cars behind you.
very good. So, I think what we're going to do with this one now, we're going to add a coat of shellac. So, we're going to add a coat of shellac sanding sealer, just to try and, just to get an idea of how that comes up. He's a yellow cat looking fella. Ah, sounds good. We will have to check that one out. Right, so we got the shellac there. Do you want to do the honours for me, Nico?
What are honours?
What that means is, do you want to paint on the shellac for me?
Yes.
So if you demonstrate for everyone, there we go. This is the next generation. So what I want you to do is to just paint it up and down for everyone to see. I'll hold it. Paint it up and down. There you go. That's it. All over. Great. And a bit on his nose as well.
Who are you making?
Who do you think this is, Nico?
A dog?
Yeah. Well, I got something right. Nico recognises it's a dog. This is a character called Droopy. So there we are. That's our first cartoon carving. Well done, Nico. You did a great job putting the shellac on there for me. There we go. So that's our first cartoon character, shellacked by Nico. There we go. What do you think? Do you like that?
Yeah.
There we are. Perhaps you can put that one on the wall for you. Now you'll have to be careful. It's still a little bit wet. So hold it on the sides and take it in and show your granny, okay? Now then, some fantastic work there by Nico. And that's another thing I always like to try and do, is to try and encourage the boys and get them doing a little bit of carving, because any sort of skills and things like that, if you can get them interested at a young age. And for Nico then, he likes his drawing and his colouring in, that sort of thing. But hopefully in the future he might be interested in doing a bit. You're back! There we are. Fantastic. Thank you for bringing it back, Nico. There we are. Right, let's have a little look now. This one here, we've got Speedy Gonzales. A character actually that I do believe that was there was talk that they were talking about not showing the cartoons. Something to do with stereotypes. But I think it's a nice character and a nice one to carve. There we are. So again, we just start off by doing just that little bit of we're doing all of our stop cuts. I got Nico watching closely everything we're doing now. And one thing as well, when I'm doing these carvings, as I'm marking them out, as I'm doing the carvings, I always try to make sure that that we're thinking about strength in it, because you can have a situation where like for instance the feet, I've actually made the feet on Speedy Gonzales a little bit shorter. They're still delicate, and the hands then I've made them a bit thicker, because you're just thinking of potential issues that we might get. So we're just marking out different parts of the design as we're going along, and let's have a little look. I've missed a few comments there. The first person I showed my card is the youngest child. Is it 4 or 5 years? No. Yeah, that's it, spot on. I do the same thing. Yeah, we're doing Speedy Gonzales. Arriba, arriba. Yeah, spot on. Hello, Dancing with Aardvarks. Fastest mouse in the world, indeed. So we're just trying to get these different layers and different levels for us to work from. Another thing then, thinking in terms of the strength of the carving, what I've actually done is to make Speedy's hat bigger. His sombrero. You know Spanish, don't you, Nico? Because of course Nico, my son, is half Spanish.
And half English.
No, you're not half English, you're half Welsh.
Yeah, but I don't know Welsh words.
But you don't know how to speak Welsh.
Yeah, I do know a little bit.
That's right.
I do know the Welsh song.
You know how to sing in Welsh, don't you?
Yeah, the Welsh song that one happy birthday one, which is pretty easy for me.
That's right.
And another one that's pretty easy for me that I know is the one at school for home time.
That's it. If I missed a few comments, Fatima, didn't the Wurzels do a song to that name? Oh, I'm not sure on that one. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to check that one out. That's the nice thing with the live stream. I learn all these new things. So this one, I'll explain to Nico as well. This is Speedy Gonzales. And Speedy Gonzales, the fastest mouse in the world. Because you haven't seen a Speedy Gonzales cartoon, have you?
No.
No, we'll have to show you one. We'll have to show you one. So we're just doing those stop cuts again.
I do watch something that sounds like a cartoon, but it's not a cartoon, it's a horror movie, and it's called Cartoon Cat.
Ah.
Daddy, you remember I told you that they made him to make fun of how creepy all the old cats from the cartoons look like?
That's it, Nico. So let's have a look. We got some more questions. Someone did. You better come home, Speedy Gonzales. Ah. So that's. I will have to. That's the nice thing we're doing the live stream. We learn all these new things, and be able to go and check afterwards on some of these different things on Google. So you can see we're just getting the profile. And now the first one I'm going to have a look at is the nose. So it's always useful because we got a nice selection of gouges available to us. It just allows us to choose between the different ones to get the closest shape possible. What I have done over the years though is if we're doing a carving like this, sometimes you have to adapt it slightly to match your tools. So that might be, you know, if you haven't got the right tool for the job, you've just got to improvise a little bit and try and make up the shape that you want. One thing on both of the carvings as well I've chosen to do so far, a little bit, the eyes have been a little bit smaller in some ways than I probably should have chosen. I should have made the whole carving slightly larger, so so it just makes doing the things like the eyes a little bit easier. But there we are. It's not a big issue. We've just got to deal with it and go from there. Little things like the these little cuts here, the eyebrows, just gives it a little bit of extra character. So that helps out too. And then the expression there, just little cuts like that one there, just adds a little bit of detail to the expression. Let's have a look. Have I missed any? Just looked it up on the computer. They did, and quite funny. There we are. I'll have to have a check. I will be looking at this Slowpoke Rodriguez. Oh, that's, I don't know that one. We're learning all sorts here. We're learning all sorts. Did you know the song? I'll ask Thomas the Woodcarver now. The song Speedy Gonzales by the Wurzels.
Daddy, you know you are Thomas the Woodcarver.
Well, that's the name that we use together, see? We use that for the workshop. So Daddy and Gramps both use that one.
Hey, won't you come home or something, isn't there?
I will have to check. I'll have to check on that one. Yeah, we'll have to check on that one. So we will have a little look. We will have a little look at that one. So you can see what we're doing. We're getting all the little bits of character in the carving itself.
What?
You coming with me?
Why?
Come on, got a job for you.
So we're just doing. You can see we're just doing on the mouth as well.
What's the job?
There we are. And Nico's just off to do another job. He might be back later to do some more shellacking for us. So we've just got a lot of the character in the carving and in the face, that sort of thing. All of Mel Blanc's. Oh, I'll have to. This is the great thing of it. I'm learning all sorts here. I'm listening to it now. I'm gonna have to check all of this out. See, if I don't have these funny ideas of doing different things, then I don't learn all of these new things. I will be listening to the song. I want to know what the story is behind Slowpoke Rodriguez. That's the one I want to find out about now. So we got the top. Now we're just getting that little bit of character in the hair as well. And so we got that just in front of the hat. Just like so. I'm missing a gouge. And I know Thomas the Woodcarver just walked past, so that could be... no, it's me. I'm blaming somebody else when it's me all along. And I've decided that it's not going to be the right gouge for doing the job anyway. Let's have a little look. I need something... What I'm looking for is for a gouge that's slightly straighter than that particular angle. It's either that or we change... We just adapt the design slightly. That's actually straight, so that's not going to do it. That's too long. What about that one? Well, that might do it. Possibly a bit too long. We'll just use about 3/4 of it. Yeah, that'll do it for us. And that's what we've got to do. So, for instance, you can see that I've actually marked these out at a different angle to the way they originally were. Now, a lot of this carving, what I'm trying to do is to get the things right, to get certain parts right. If you can get the face right, and then afterwards I'm going to go on to the depth and the detail. So, for instance, give the hat a little bit of depth. And when I was learning then to carve, this was something that I did. Just because I enjoyed it. It was, you know, the different cartoon characters, they had such character to them, hence cartoon characters. And so I would sort of do this, something different to what we would be ever doing in the workshop. And so I found it would sort of challenge your skills and also help you improve your wood carving. But at the same time, you were having a little bit of fun with what you were doing. Now, with doing this bit, again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just bring the carving slightly up so the background is not interfering with what I'm doing. Just bring it out from that background, just makes the carving process just slightly easier. So again, we've got those little bits of detail just separating the arms from the hat. And what I do with this is that we drop the t-shirt below the, what do you call it, a neck scarf? Is that right? Do you call it a neck scarf? So I think it's a neck scarf. So we're pushing the t-shirt below, or jumper below the neck scarf. But we will also then have to push the shorts or trousers, whatever they are, those will have to be pushed behind the trousers, so behind the t-shirt. So this is all about finding the right layers. And as you can see, I would like it to sit up a little bit in the vise, but for some reason it doesn't want to do that on this one. But there we are, we won't worry about that. So the legs go into the trousers, so we know that much. And then the trousers we're going to have so they're sort of tucked into the t-shirt. So just like so. Didn't mention as well, this little one that we're carving, this is a piece of mahogany. So we're using different woods. What I'll also do, we'll have the trousers sort of tucked into the t-shirt, but I'll carve back in the opposite direction on the bottom of the t-shirt as well, just to finish it off. So we try again, just to get a little bit of, get those legs going into the trousers. And it's just that same process, take away that waste wood you don't want. A neckerchief, no problem. They're West Country, a great sense of country humour. Yeah, the Wurzels. The one I'm familiar with is Cider Drinker. Because as you mentioned, the Wurzels were a West Country group, or are, I think they're still about, the Wurzels. West Country group. And a big thing in the West Country, of course, is the cider making and the cider drinking. I am a cider drinker. That was one of the ones that I remember of them. Proper West Country. There we are. So we're going to push those arms behind that, what do you call it? Neckerchief. Thanks for the carver there. This is the great thing of doing these live streams, that I get an education as I'm doing it. So we're going to have the little bit of detail. Now one thing I might need to use is just the tongue. How can I mark that one out? I think this one, I got one, no, I tell you what we do. We do the one side with a mini gouge like that, and the other side, yeah, that'll do it. There. Fantastic. So you mark the tongue out. And this is little bits that you're working out. Because we're putting a tongue in the mouth, there's going to be 3 depths. So there will be the depth of the face, the depth of the mouth, and the depth of the tongue. So we've got 3 different depths to sort out in that part there. So we're going to use that just to cut into the tongue. But it's the little fine details that really gives the carving its character. If any of you are on Instagram, that was one that the carver was doing recently. Was they did a famous grouse carving and the different details with that. That's what really gives it its character. The carving is all those little bits of extra detail in it. So yeah, if you're on Instagram, check out that one from the carver. A nice carving for everybody to see. So we drop the eyes down as well. The nose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the reverse angle. So I'm going to shape it around, but we don't want to actually drop the nose entirely back, because the nose, you know, a nose sticks out. So we just work out the different parts we do. And I've got a brand new combine harvester, of course, yeah. Dickens cider. There we are, yeah. So just a little bit of detail on the trousers or shorts, separating the legs. Where are we going to go from there? We've got a little bit more to do on the eye. Just like so. And this is where we're just trying to give, you're trying to get basically the maximum effect for the minimum amount of cutting out. So we got that outline of the eye marked there. We try and get the outline marked back out on this one. The difficulty there as well is that we haven't got a lot of wood supporting it there. So because I've only got a little bit of wood, we have to go steadily on this eye because there's not the wood between the eye and the line there supporting it. So we could easily damage the edge and cause ourselves a bit of a problem. So that's what I'm trying to avoid there. That's why I'm going slowly and delicately. We're going to come around the outside of these lines too. Another thing, we're just going to full stop for the eyes again. We're going to use full stops. Which way are we going to have him looking? Straight ahead. He's a Speedy mouse, tunnel vision. Just like so. Yeah, happy with that. I think it's time for us to turn our carving around. And the surround, I just got to get the carving block just off to the side, so we're keeping all the surround together as well. Grown man with a sense of humour of a 13. Right, so carving a little bit of the hat back the other way. And this is where we get different layers to our carving. And it starts to get a little bit delicate in certain parts. Because that's the sort of the trickiest bit then when it comes to carvings like this, is because you need all those little bits of detail in the character. Now the tongue, as I mentioned, that's slightly down, so we're going to have those 3 depths. The mouth, so when you think of the mouth, you've got like the back of the mouth, the tongue is, and the teeth and things like that are more raised, and then you've got the face itself in front. So that's what we're working out, is where we can get the different depths into the carving. There we are. Right, so the hat as well, we're going to get a little bit of depth on that, because of course the hat sits on the head, but it would be behind the hair and it would be behind the face. But we just create that maximum amount of effect. Now then, I'm going to have to come around here because it looks like I've got a little splinter on the front of Speedy's face. So that's not a big issue. We're just going to shape it a little bit. And this is what happens as you're carving. You'll have little things that go wrong, little mistakes. Well, I don't know if you call them mistakes. Just little areas that will, just as I've just caught the edge of his face. But all it means is if I bevel it back the other way, all it means is that it's something I would have done anyway, is to just bevel it back the other way, so we've got better strength and support for that edge. So I've marked out initially the stop cut. It's the same here. This is a little area that would, how can I explain, not concern me as such, but I want to bevel it back the other way so it's nice and strong. And all the time we're taking away that waste wood. We're going to go around the ear, just beveling it away. Just gives a little bit of extra strength and also a little bit of extra roundness. Nicer finish on the carving. Now, as I think as a few of you joined us regularly, you could make a tiny block of cheese. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want to end up with is a whole... I brought a few carvings in. I put them on the shelf. One day I'll have to show everybody all of the different ones all together. I want a whole display here of all the different cartoon characters. Because what it is, at different times in the workshop we have families in, so you have children and well, not just children, but big kids as well, as in adults. And I think it's a nice little display to have for people to see all of the different cartoon characters in wood. It's just a bit of fun, something that you know, something different that people are not used to seeing carved in wood. So we're going to work as well a little bit of depth on the neckerchief. Now I know what it's called. And on the bottom of the t-shirt, as I said, we just carve it back the other way as well. So the idea is that we've got the separation of the shorts or trousers from the t-shirt, but they do basically join. I don't think, did I mention as well? Let me know. Did I mention the wood? It's great to see these characters come to life as you carve. Yeah, thank you, Aubrey. Yeah, it's great fun to do them. Did I mention the wood? If I didn't mention the wood, it's a piece of mahogany, and you may notice as I'm carving this, you may notice that little sort of bevel on the top. That's because it's obviously been a drawer or something like that. Now some of the things then that we're moving on to with this one, we got to get these arms. The arms again, they go behind the neckerchief. So you're working out as you're going along which parts of it, which are the most prominent parts of the carving. So which need to be raised and which parts need to be pushed back. And if anyone's wondering if I sort of plan it all out before I start this, you may notice from you know, from the way I do it, it's all sort of improvised, to be honest with you. You don't have like I don't sort of come in with a plan. You have a rough idea, and I know from you've got the experience of carving things like this before, so you know how things have gone in those instances. But to say I actually have a plan would not be true. So the one thing I want now, I want a little bit more depth here. So I want a little bit more depth to the areas then around the hair. So my one is sombrero. Interesting one with that. I do believe with Speedy's hat that it is referred to as a sombrero, because my wife now, when it comes to a hat, I'd say sombrero and she'd call it un gorro. So they don't always call it a sombrero. A little bit of detail just in there. Yeah, we're going to get, that's what we mainly need now, is a little bit of depth here. And I'm hoping that I'm going to bring that a bit further down, make life easy for myself. I'm hoping that, yeah, I'm hoping that that's all going to be okay in there. When I turn this around, I'm hoping that it will be well on its way. Let's have a little look. I had forgotten that Speedy's main enemy is Sylvester the cat, also arch enemy of Tweety Pie. Well, that is useful to know, and I'll tell you why. Because I was looking for it earlier and I couldn't find it, so I might have to carve another one. I've carved, you'll see on the channel, a few years ago I think I did it on when I was just starting off on YouTube. I carved Tweety Pie, a simple little cartoon carving to do, and now I've done Speedy, or I will have done it by the end of this live stream, I hope. So that leads me on to where I will probably need to be going next. I remember that often had ammo belts across their chest. Oh wow. Well, apparently, see, part of cancel culture, weren't they talking about banning Speedy Gonzales, which I think is ridiculous because I think it was just a nice I thought it was a fun cartoon. I enjoyed it as a child. For reinforcing stereotypes, that was the word that I heard. But what do I know? I just enjoyed seeing the mouse running around shouting arriba, arriba. The other one that I would like to do as well, because I've done, I have done the Roadrunner, so I'll have to get into the Nemesis, into doing a few of the art activities. Is oh, hang on, it's gone out my head. Who's the enemy of? Who's the one always chasing around? Wile E. Coyote. There we are. The Coyote. We'll have to have a look at that one. That's one that I would like to have a go at. So hopefully in either in a video or a live stream we can have a look at that. So yeah, this is coming on quite nicely. I'm pretty happy with what we've got so far. Of course, the hair that needs to be pushed back a little bit because he's looking a bit punk rockerish at the moment. But we just got it so it sits on the head as opposed to, yeah, that's coming on. Yeah, over the years, it's just something that for myself, I've always regarded this as almost a bit of downtime with the carving, where instead of doing the day job where we're making the Lovespoons, and I mean in fairness with the Lovespoons, I get to carve all sorts of different things, which is good fun. But these ones over the years, I've just enjoyed doing. Never sold them, but that's the problem with these, is that you can't sell them because of copyright. And that is one thing as well to get into, only for yourselves, just to think about when you do things. You're not likely to have problems, but you've always got to be very careful with anything you make. If you're making things for presents, for yourself, I don't think you'd have too many problems with doing things like this. But if you did this and then you started doing it commercially, then you can have a problem. But if you call Thomas the Woodcarver back into the, what's that one there? Roadrunner, Mimi, yeah, spot on. If you do Wiley, you may want to do Ralph the Sheepdog too. But I'm not gonna soapbox the cancellation. Yeah, that's it. There was I thought it was a bit when they started talking about the different cartoon characters and cancelling them for different issues. It was an article, and it may have been a YouTube video that I saw on one of the ones that fell victim to cancel culture was Pepe Le Pew, which that's been. I think they were going to do another Space Jam film or something like that, and what I actually saw of it was a comedian and they were only having a bit of fun about it. And it sort of led on to Pepe Le Pew being cut from Space Jam, unceremoniously dumped from the film. Amazing to think some of these things, because when you've sort of grown up watching these different things, you don't really see it in the light that these things are now seen. But there we are, different times, and now seen in a slightly different light. So yeah, you can see we're getting these different depths of different parts of the carving starting to take shape. We're very much now on to the final sort of finishing details. I've got to get the hat the top of the sombrero. Just shaping it. And all in all, that's coming on quite nicely. Now another thing that I have done as well, we sort of had a bit of fun, and I made you a little video. I made you it on our next video, because we've kind of developed our own little cartoon idea. So yeah, we got a Lovespoon Workshop cartoon character. So I think I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that one top secret. But I had a little idea for a cartoon character, and I drew something simple out, and I've got it prepared. But I think we'll leave that one for our next live stream, because as I mentioned, I forget how long it takes us to carve all the little bits of detail. They're little carvings, but because you want to get them right, and you want to get them to look as best they can, it takes quite a little while to get all the little bits of detail sorted. And it's all these little intricacies. You know, we're going to go over now the fingers and the toes and stuff like that. All those little bits of details that maybe not even get noticed, but they add to the character of the carving. And look at that. We've got a disaster. Look at that. Just as I've gone over that, we popped out. Now then. Now we got a challenge on. We popped that little bit of wood I kept mentioning that we're going to have to be careful of, that we're going to have to watch out for. That little bit of wood has popped. So now the challenge is on. Sort the carving out. Sort the carving out when we made a little mistake. Here we go. So this bit of wood has popped out. So now we're going to have to carve. How badly has it gone? There it goes. Right, so we've lost part of Speedy's head's popped out. Sorry, Speedy. So now we're going to have to carve, just as we thought we were getting towards the end of the carving. That little bit of wood all along, I was ever so slightly concerned about, because it is delicate. So, what do we do when it goes wrong? Do we start crying? Do we jump up and down? Do we lose our temper? Nope. We don't worry about it. We just carve it deeper. So we're going to have a little bit more depth to the carving. So that comes around there. And now I'm going to try and get this better reinforced. So I was a bit concerned about that all along, because the eye was close, because it was close to the edge. There's not a lot of wood there supporting. And so that was a concern of mine all the way through the carving. And right at the end, as it always is, it's always at the end of your carving, that little bit has popped out. So now we have to sort it out. But that's wood carving. That's why we demonstrate it. And it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you just have to sort out the problem. Carve it deeper. So I'll do it slightly differently now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the depth on that carving, and I'm going to carve down into the wood until I'm satisfied that I got the strength back in it. So it's going to just give the hat, his sombrero, just a little bit more depth. You alright, Nico?
Yeah.
Good man. Daddy's made a mistake.
What's the mistake?
What's a mistake? Yeah. Daddy's just got it a little bit wrong. Daddy's got it a bit wrong in his carving.
Mistake, but what mistake have you done?
What mistake have I made? Look, I just popped a little bit of wood out of there. Silly Daddy.
Why?
Why did I do it? Well, I didn't mean to do it. So we're just going to work on it again. We're going to get a little bit more depth, and we're going to sort it out.
Are you still doing the same live stream?
I am. Do you want to say hello to everyone again?
Hello again.
had a dog named Speedy because he ran so fast. Good to hear from you. Lo siento, Speedy. Indeed, lo siento. What does lo siento mean, Nico?
That means sorry in Spanish.
You're spot on. Yeah. Spot on, Nico. So, we've upset Speedy because we popped part of his head off. But we're not going to worry about it. We're going to sort it out, Nico. Because there's nothing that we can't sort out. See? We can sort these things out. You don't have to be too worried about it. So what I'm doing, see, we're going to take all of this wood. We're just going to carve deeper down, reshape the face just slightly until nobody can see that mistake any longer. And there lies a lot of the skill of wood carving. Mistakes happen, things go wrong, but it's how you can respond to them that's the key. It's not making the mistake, it's how you can correct the mistake. So we keep going over that one, but I'm carving now at a slightly, on the outside edge, I'm carving at a slightly different angle. So we're just going to reshape the nose as well. It's always a little frustration when something like that happens, but you know, at the end of the day, there's always a solution, there's always a way of correcting it. And that's what we can do. Here we are. That's it. So let's just go back over the eye. One more time with the eye, I think will give us enough depth. So that's what we just keep doing, is to keep building up that stop cut. I think we're going to have to take a little bit more wood. We're going to have to take a little bit more of this wood away as well. Because now that just means that what it means that there's a lot of depth gone into this part. And so we just need to drop it back a little bit just to even it out, even the face out a bit. Let's have a little look. Yeah, we're nearly there with it. Just like so. And that's all we're going to do, is to just change the depth of everything until we get it right. And at this point, it's another one as well. If it does go wrong again and you have that problem, yeah, you just have to go deeper again. But I am going a little bit more carefully now, because I'm aware that I've already made that mistake once. Okay, so let's get the eye, the pupil of the eye back in. And that will go in just about there. Yeah, that's fine. Just go back over this just to try and get the stop cut, the marking of the stop cut back in. Oh, it's always something different with our live stream. That's the first time we've made a little error in that nature, but hopefully it's useful to see, you know, our reaction to something going wrong. It's not a big deal. It's not something you have to panic about. It's not something you've got to start jumping up and down about. Just use it to your advantage and sort of develop the carving around it. Make a feature of it, as opposed to frustrating yourself with it. Take advantage of what has happened. All it's done is it's just given us a little bit more depth and detail. We brought the nose out a little bit more. Why? To cover up where Daddy made a little mistake. Good morning, Marcia. Good morning, and hello to you all. There you go. I'll just turn it around in the vise so you can see. Now, to finish off the carving, I'm going to go around the top of the hat and then I'm going to do the fingers and just one little line just for a few toes. And then I'm going to sand it, and we'll ask Nico. Nico, do you reckon you can do another coat of shellac on here for us? You reckon you can do that? Okie dokie. I'll finish off the carving, so I'll demonstrate to you. Can you see? Daddy's just going to take a little bit. Going to take a little bit out like that. Can you see?
Yeah.
So we're just carving around the outside. This is just to shape the top of his hat. So he's Speedy. What's the name of his hat? Do you know his hat name, Nico?
No.
What do they call a hat in Spanish? What does Mummy call a hat?
Don't know.
It's a sombrero, isn't it?
Oh.
So Speedy's got a sombrero on, a big sombrero. There we are. So we're just shaping around the outside like that. Just a little bit of detail. And then for the fingers...
Is he Spanish?
He's Mexican. And he's the fastest mouth. We've all been talking about it. He's a fast mouth. Cartoon character, Marcia. He's starting with Droopy. Yeah, we'll bring Droopy back in. There's Droopy. It's myself who's been Droopy here today because we managed to make a mistake, something we don't do very often on the carvings. Well, we made a little mistake on Speedy, but in some ways, I'm glad about it because I got
why are you
depth.
red by there?
Why am I red by there, Nico? Because I got burnt in the sun on the beach. Daddy and the sun don't get on very well, see? There we are. So you got a little bit of detail for his toes. And then I'm going to just try and take the surround away. We take the surround away. I'm going to put him like this. In there, Nico. And all I'm going to do is before you do the shellac, and this is a delicate little job, we're going to get some fingers like this on Speedy. Yeah, just a few little fingers like that. Now when Nico puts the shellac on as well, we may find that we need to do a little bit more work just to bring the detail out. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All I would do is I would just go back over the stop cut, and there's a little method that we use where we put the 3 coats of shellac on, and if the shellac fills in those bits of details, the little details like the fingers, then what we basically do, we put the 3 coats on and then re-go over the detail and just oil it instead of shellacking it again. Oil it, so the oil, it's a contrast finish, and it just sharpens it all up. There we are. I reckon, Nico, I'm going to do a little bit of sanding, and then I reckon I'm ready. That one's the shellacking brush. So I'm just going to sand over Speedy. We're going to sand over Speedy, including a little mistake, which we managed to cover back up. We sand over his hat. Why do you think they call him Speedy, Nico?
Because he's very fast.
He's very fast, you're right. You can't catch Speedy. Right. Now the one little thing I've also noticed that I haven't done is just a little bit of detail on the neckerchief. And just 2 little lines like so. But I always think it's those little bits of detail that really finish it off nicely. And then Nico, if you want to come around. And I'm going to put a little dab of shellac. Now remember, same again, go up and down with the grain, straight up and down. No, that's a cross, up and down, like a, that's it. That's the way, good man. That's it, all over, brilliant. There we are, fantastic. If I just take one little bit off, there, just that little dab. There you go. And that is our carving. That's it. Brilliant. Top man.
Where was the mistake?
High five, Nico. Or low five. Good.
Where was the mistake?
The little mistake that Daddy made was just for there. Can you? But what Daddy's done, he's just gone back over the carving. put a bit more depth on it and sorted it out. So there you go. Those are our 2 little cartoon carvings for today. Yeah, let me know if you want to see some more cartoon carvings. I've got a few more there that we can do. So let us know in the comments section if you'd like to see. We've got one cartoon character that is actually our own design. So if you want to know more about that, let us know and we'll show you. And the other one that I got ready to go is a minion. But it's one of the minions when they turn bad. So if you'd like to see them being done, let me know in the comments section, and I'll do the live stream on them next week. Thank you all again for joining us. Over there, can you reuse the little bits of shellac that gather around the rim of the jar? No, we never have, to be honest with you. Once it goes hard and solid like that, we never have. Whether you can do something in terms of reusing them, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but we never have. We just buy it, and once it's gone, then we buy more. Aubrey as well. Gracias. No, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us, and everybody as well. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for supporting us. If you want to see those other carvings, let me know, and I can do a live stream. And if you want us to reveal our own cartoon character, we can do it. There you are. You want to say thank you, everyone, Nico?
Thank you.
Good boy. Well done, Nico. And thank you all again for joining us for our live stream.
Is this the end of the video?
It is. Have a good week, everyone. And hopefully we'll